7:33, and the check is in the mail for more than 500,000 New Yorkers who've been waiting on public assistance, really.
And New York's Department of Social Services was sued over processing delays for SNAP and cash assistance for families in need. The agency had until this month to clear that backlog of cases, and they did. Commissioner Wasow Park is joining us this morning to explain the measures that were put in place to avoid these delays, hopefully, in the future. So good morning, Commissioner. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so let's start from the beginning, the root here. There's, some 2 million New Yorkers that rely on these benefits and the cash assistance, correct?
Yep, we've got a caseload of about 510,000 New Yorkers receiving cash assistance and 1.73 million New Yorkers receiving SNAP. They're incredibly important benefits.
Yeah, and at one point there was a backlog of some 50,000. So
Correct.
Talk about what the issue was and what the city did to fix that.
Sure. So I think there's really two drivers as to how we ended up with the backlog. One is the federal government put in place really significant anti-poverty programs during COVID, right? Enhanced child tax credit, enhanced unemployment, rental assistance. Those have all been pulled back, and I think what that's really revealed is that the recovery from the pandemic has not been equal across all communities. There's still real need out there, and so we're seeing that in the numbers of applications for benefits, not just here in New York, but across the country. The other piece of it that I think is unique to New York City is that we have really significantly reduced the barriers for application. So there's a federal requirement that you have to interview. You used to have to do that in person, right? So you took time off work, you found childcare, you went, you sat in a center for several hours. Now, more than 90% of people are applying online, so we're getting more benefits into the hands of New Yorkers who are entitled to them.
So are the
that's
changes here permanent, right? Because how do you prevent a backlog from happening again?
So I think we really took a three-pronged strategy, and that's going to leave us a lot stronger. One, we hired a lot of people. We brought on close to 1,000 people, trained them, they're out, they're in the field, they're working, they're processing benefits, which is great. We invested in technology, and I think a big example here is our phone system. I mentioned you used to have to do that interview in person.
Yeah.
We put it on the phones. Originally it was, don't call us, we'll call you. That didn't work so well. Now it's an inbound calling system, and most recently we've put in place some validation methods so that really only the calls that are related to interviews are coming in there. Other inquiries are diverted elsewhere. That has really improved our efficiency, and that's going to be something that's going on an ongoing basis. And then we worked on process improvements. This was a big whole of government effort. We worked with the Mayor's Office of Efficiency to do this, and to really streamline the process, get rid of some of the more bureaucratic challenges. Again, just as an example, the requirement used to be that in addition to your annual recertification, at 6 months, we sent you a letter. If you didn't respond, we kicked you off the benefits. We looked at that. We found that the overwhelming majority of people were back on after, a couple of months. So it was a lot of disruption for the clients and a lot of work for us. So we were able to eliminate that step.
There's still folks that are waiting, though, so how long do they have to wait? I'm sure there's somebody watching at home saying, well, I'm a part of that backlog and I still haven't received my benefits.
So our backlog is down 97% for cash, 90% for SNAP. So there are about 1,100 people on the cash side and 400 on the SNAP, where we still need to get to. We're absolutely on track to meet our goal of fully eliminating it by the end of the month. And we will continue to process benefits in a timely way. Certainly, if there's going to be individual case issues, we're happy to work through them with people.
Yeah, when you mentioned the individual, so end of the month, by the way, is the backlog ending, right? But you mentioned a lot of this stuff has gone to your phones. For those who don't have phones or internet access, what's the process for them? So
we still absolutely have a robust network of in-person centers. So people can certainly come in and apply the way that it used to be, but as I say, more than 90% of people are doing it online now.
Okay, so just remind folks if they're at home where they need to go specifically to get their benefits.
So Access HRA is the name of the system. You can get to it through our website. There's also an app to download, and then the addresses of the centers are on are available as well, so that you can go to whatever your local community benefit center is as well.
All very good information and very much needed. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for clearing it all up, and hopefully folks get that backlog by the end of the month. Commissioner, appreciate you being here this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.